Teresa, Teresa Ellis will be called up to the stage for the nominations committee. Here we go. Yay. Here you go. Thank you, Jillian. So I am the current chair of the nominations committee, and thanks to David Carpio, who had to leave to catch a plane, so I'm filling in for him, and I'm now the chair. The rules are the same for officer nominations as they were for the National Executive Board nominations, but I will refresh your memory. The nominations must be made on the floor by a delegate. There must be a second. The person nominating a candidate gets 1 minute to speak. The person who is seconding the nomination does not get to speak, sorry. And then the nominee gets 1 minute to accept or decline the nomination, and then a minute to speak if they wish. So that said, are there any questions? Then I will open the floor up for nominations. First, we have the position of treasurer for APALA. Are there any nominations for APALA treasurer? Is anybody going to nominate anybody to run for treasurer of APALA? Are we missing some people in this room who might nominate people for treasurer? I can move on and come back to treasurer. Yes, and please, thanks for coming to the mic and state your name and chapter.
Maria Teresa Hank with Transport Workers Union 556. I'd like to nominate CQ with IAMAW.
For the position of treasurer?
For the position of treasurer.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? So we do have a second. If you don't mind, state your name. Stand up and state your name for the second. Thank you.
Come to the mic.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer?
Yes. He's seconding. I got another nomination for treasurer.
Second, Frank Enier.
I'm sorry, who are you nominating? Or are you the second? You're the second, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Are there other nominations for treasurer?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Jessica She, Hers, Vine Boba. Sorry, Mass Chapter. I'm really actually excited and thrilled and honored to nominate Sung for treasurer. He has been on, as the sitting treasurer, he has been an invaluable member of the Finance Committee. There is honestly no one who is more prepared to take on this role at a very critical time for APALA, where we are facing a fiscal crisis and we need to very urgently diversify our funding so that we can sustain the work of APALA, and not just sustain it, but support it and make it thrive and grow, right? He has the knowledge, the skills, the vision, the work ethic, and I really cannot think of anyone that I would trust more to continue on as the treasurer for APALA, and so I am proudly nominating Sung Lee for treasurer.
Thank you. Do we have a second for that nomination?
Tracy Lai, Seattle Chapter AFT, and I rise to second that nomination of Sung Lee for treasurer.
So the first nomination for treasurer, only people on the National Executive Board can run for officer positions. Okay, sorry, that wasn't clear. So, but thank you for stepping in to fill the space. And thanks to the person who was willing to step up also. Are there any, well, first, are there any other nominations from the National Executive Board for the position of treasurer? And would the nominee like to speak? If so, you have 1 minute. And we need you to also accept or decline the nomination.
Good morning, APALA. My name is Sung Lee. I'm the first vice president of APALA New York, American Federation of Teachers, United Federation of Teachers Local 2. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I've been an elementary school teacher and a special education teacher, but more importantly, I've served as an executive board member of APALA and an executive board member of my local. I'm now a full-time personnel specialist for my local, so I do salary calculations, and I know way more about New York City inflation than I ever wanted to in my entire life. And I was also on contract negotiation committees for my local, and as Jessica mentioned, and I was honored to work with her, I was on the finance committee of APALA. So I promise I know something. And I also promise that I have been spending my time at APALA here talking to some people that I really respect and appreciate: Michael Yee, Marion Tom, Ligaya, yeah, Jessica, of course Jessica, I said her already, Marion, but see, Marion knows, and and Jillian, so thank you to everybody, and I do respect and honor APALA, and I will make that work and do that work, so thank you.
So just to be clear, you are accepting the nomination? Yes. Okay. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Nominations are now closed with only one nomination for that position from the NEB. The nominee is elected by acclamation. So now we will open up nominations for the position of secretary. Are there any positions for eligible candidates for the position of APALA secretary? And please state your name, if we, spelling, and your chapter.
Jessica Tang, Jessicatang, she, hers, Massachusetts APALA chapter, and I rise to nominate Michaela Vu for secretary of APALA. I've known Michaela actually through APALA most recently, but also through the Massachusetts chapter when she moved to Massachusetts, and I have been incredibly impressed by her leadership, not just of the YLC of APALA, but then also stepping in as the program committee chair. If you all have had a wonderful time this weekend, it is very much, in addition to the leadership of Ligaya, Michaela in the program committee. She has, again, just incredible energy, vision, and execution of what APALA needs, and strongly recommend her for secretary, and again, I'm very proud to nominate her for this role. I know she'll be doing an incredible job representing not just APALA, but also workers and community workers, everybody. And my time's up. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Jason Chan, he, him, Seattle chapter, Machinist Union. I second the nomination of Michaela Vu for secretary.
Thank you. If you would, sorry, Michaela, would you like to come to the mic?
I'll start. Do you want me to spell my name?
Yes.
Oh,
Or
okay.
do you have it? Okay. So we need to know, you have a minute. You can accept or decline the nomination, and you have a minute to speak.
My name is Michaela Vu. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a proud UAW and APALA, Massachusetts member. I'm also the co-chair of the APALA YLC and serve as the second vice president. And I am honored to accept this nomination for secretary. APALA has become a home to me and has helped me develop my leadership from a rank and file worker to be hiring as an international rep for the UAW. And I would not be here without APALA, especially as a young worker. And I'm running with this great team of other officers and Ligaya because I know together we can help empower and uplift more API workers, getting them into good union jobs, especially for the younger workers who are the future of our movement. We will work together to strengthen our relationship with organized labor, to build strong APALA chapters throughout this country, and to organize the unorganized. And while I may not have as much experience on the board, I believe my experience and perspective as a young worker will help us build a stronger APALA. And thank you, and I wish for your support.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the position of secretary? Are there any other nominations for the position of secretary? Are there any other nominations? Nominations for the position of secretary are now closed. The candidate is elected by acclamation. So we will now open the nominations for the position of second executive vice president. Again, the nominee must be a member of the National Executive Board. Do we have any nominations for that position?
I have a nomination.
Okay, name and chapter and spelling if we don't know how to spell your name, but we probably do, Arlene.
Arlene Inoue, she, her, and I am with AFT 1021 and NEA. I am thrilled to nominate Emily Reyes for second vice president of APALA. She is currently on the executive board, has been a part of the investigation committee. She's someone we can count on to be honest, to be fair, and to speak truth to power. So I'm so honored to be able to nominate her. I've known her in UTLA about 8 years ago. She rose up as a leader of one of our chapters and organized her school site in elementary school, and then since then has organized around 100 schools in our west area of our union, UTLA, along with being active in political action committee. She's someone that will really move our union forward, not our union, our APALA forward, and I strongly recommend her as the second VP. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a second for that nomination?
Jessica Tang, she, hers, Massachusetts, APALA. I second the nomination.
Thank you. Can we have the candidate for the position of second executive vice president come to the mic and state whether you will accept or decline the nomination? And you have a minute to speak if you wish.
Hi, Emily Reyes. I am the current executive vice president of the Los Angeles chapter. I sit on the National Executive Board as the LA appointee. I am rising up to proudly accept the nomination for second vice president made by Arlene Inoue. Thank you, Arlene, and thank you, Jessica, for seconding. I am a proud United Teachers of Los Angeles member. I am the daughter of a Sakata Monong, documented by a photo I unexpectedly found at the Wing Luke Museum on Friday nights. In March, I took the strength I learned in UTLA's 6-day strike from 2019 to help empower my union siblings of SEIU Local 99. I am hoping to build a resilient and powerful bond with all our unions. So again, I hope to have your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the position of second executive vice president? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? The nomination for the position of second executive vice president is now closed. Since there's only one nomination, that candidate has been elected by acclamation. So now we will open up nominations for the position of first executive vice president.
Good morning, APALA siblings. My name is Michael Yee, and I rise here today to nominate Stephen Moy for first executive vice president. Both Stephen and I are from local union number 3, IBEW, in New York City, and on the New York City chapter. Stephen has been a member of the IBEW in Local 3 since 1994. I've known him all that time, and I've been privileged to see him rise through his activism within our local, and he attained positions throughout that time. He currently sits as a senior executive board member of my local, and he is the New York City chapter president of APALA. He has been on the national executive board for over a decade, and I gotta say, through this period, this past year of turbulence within APALA, he and his fellow officers have guided us through that process, and we are standing here today because of that. So I proudly nominate my brother, Stephen Moy.
Thank you. Do we have a second for this nomination?
Good morning. Is it afternoon now?
No.
Good morning, siblings. My name is Louisa Blue, she, her, SEIU San Francisco chapter, a proud founding member of APALA, and served as your national president. Served as the national president for APALA for 2 terms. I am proud to stand up and second the nomination for my brother, Stephen Moy from New York. I knew him when he was little.
Thank you. Can the candidate let us know whether they're accepting or declining the nomination? And you have 1 minute to speak if you would like.
Hi, Stephen Moy, pronoun he, him, his. I humbly accept the nomination. So, just real quick, I know this is not karaoke, so I do a little better. Thank you all for the support. But I know a question came up, so, how come Stephen's not running for president? How come? So, to be honest and fair to APALA and to myself, this past few months have really shown me that being president is a lot of time, a lot of dedication. And to be true to APALA and to be able to offer that time, it's kind of difficult when you have a family and doing other things. So it's for the benefit of APALA to let Ligaya to run for president, because I believe it's fair to you, fair to the organization, and fair to myself. I believe in continuity. That's why I believe in staying as first vice president. To keep APALA moving, you need to have that continuity. You can't change leadership straight through and then change the whole entire idea. So for APALA to move forward, we need to have some kind of continuity. So thank you, and I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for first executive vice president? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Nominations for the position of first executive vice president are now closed. As an uncontested position with a single nominee, that candidate is elected by acclamation. So now we move on to our last nomination. This is for the position of APALA president. Do we have any nominations for the position of president of APALA?
Kent Wong, American Federation of Teachers, Los Angeles chapter. I proudly rise to nominate my sister, my friend, Ligaya Domingo, for the national president of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance. Ligaya Domingo has dedicated her life to the U.S. labor movement. She began as a young organizer. I dusted off this book, Voices for Justice, printed 22 years ago, which feature an early organizer, a young organizer by the name of Ligaya Domingo, and her story was captured 22 years ago in this book. She has a PhD from the University of California, Berkeley. She was the education director for SEIU Local 1199, building up powerful rank and file leadership. She is the daughter of Silme Domingo, who was honored at the founding convention of APALA back in 1992. 31 years later, for the first time, the APALA National Convention is being held here in Seattle. And the legacy of Domingo and Viernes lives on. Silme Domingo and Jean Viernes were assassinated by the Marcos dictatorship at the International Longshore Workers Union Hall right here in Seattle. And Ligaya's life has come to realize and empower working people in this country, carrying on her father's rich legacy and the Domingo family's rich legacy of fighting for dignity and justice. So I am so proud that Ligaya Domingo has agreed to step up and to be the national president of the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Do
I,
we have a second?
yeah, second the motion. And I, Angel Sherborne, from SEIU 1199 Northwest, she, her, and my sister.
I nominate, I, Carmen Sita Smith,
She, her.
pronounce she and her, I nominate for Ligaya Domingo because when I was hired for D1, I know Ligaya Domingo, and after that, they lift us up, especially in ABS. She is the director of education for training fund. I'm very proud for her because if it's not for her, we don't have no education in ABS department. To get $1. $1 is a big thing for us because our salary is not enough for us, especially we have family. And thank you. I'm really rise up for her to become a president of APALA.
Thank you.
And we are very proud to have President Ligaya Domingo, and she lift up our leadership. She lift up everything to be, she make us bold, and make us a strong leader. I'm proud to have Ligaya Die Hard Domingo.
Thank you.
Not planned. Okay, hi. Sorry, you were supposed to do your thing.
Oh, yeah, come on up. Are you going to accept or decline? And then you have a minute to speak.
Yes, I'm accepting the nomination. I'm Ligaya Domingo from SEIU Healthcare, 1199 Northwest, where I'm the Racial Justice and Education Director, and from the Seattle chapter. I am honored to accept the nomination to become APALA's next president. Ever since I joined APALA at 18 years old, I felt that this was home. When I first started organizing in the labor movement 27 years ago, there were very few people of color, let alone API leaders or union staff. Today, I'm so proud that we've been able to grow those numbers. I've seen the incredible organizing and leadership development that we can do through APALA. I'm committed to building an even stronger APALA that is grounded in relationship to organized labor, and that we can be even stronger beacon of change to the labor movement in workers' lives and partnering with community organizations. I've served in a leadership role in the Seattle chapter off and on for 25 years. This will be my third term as a Seattle chapter appointee to the National Executive Board of APALA, and I'm currently the first vice president. I believe that my experience makes me a strong candidate for president.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations from the floor for the candidates for president of APALA? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, nominations for that position are now closed, and the candidate is elected by acclamation. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Jillian.